One morning, everything was over. You wake up one morning. The calendar shows 2014. Bitcoin is not mainstream yet, but it's growing. People quietly believe they are part of a revolution. You turn on your computer. You open your browser. You do what you do every day. You log into your Mt. Gox account, but the page doesn't load. At first, you don't worry, because Mt. Gox had slowed down before. You think it's just a technical issue. Minutes pass, hours pass, then Reddit, then Twitter, and that sentence appears: Mt. Gox is offline. That day, it wasn't just an exchange that shut down. That day, Bitcoin lost its innocence, the Wild West years of Bitcoin. The crypto world between 2010 and 2014 was nothing like today. There were no regulations, no oversight, no licenses, no KYC. Governments didn't take Bitcoin seriously. Bitcoin was a rebellion against banks, an experiment against state control, a promise of freedom. But there was an ironic truth. Bitcoin was decentralized. Yet people were leaving their money in centralized places. And the biggest of those places was Mt. Gox. So how was Mt. Gox born? Mt. Gox was founded in Tokyo, Japan. It operated until 2014. But at the beginning, it had nothing to do with Bitcoin. The name actually stood for Magic, the Gathering Online Exchange. It was originally a trading site for game cards, developed in the late 2000s. When Bitcoin was added in 2010, everything changed, and it grew at an unbelievable speed, becoming a monopoly. By 2013, Mt. Gox was handling more than 70% of global Bitcoin transactions, almost all liquidity. It was the main center controlling Bitcoin's price. For many people, buying Bitcoin meant opening a Mt. Gox account. But this made the entire Bitcoin market dependent on a single entity, and that dependency would make the coming collapse far more painful. Mark Karpeles, the wrong man at the wrong time. The CEO of Mt. Gox was Mark Karpeles, a French software developer, from hacker culture. No financial background, no banking experience. But do you know what he had? Hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins. And how was the system built? The code was written by Mark. The servers were controlled by Mark. Wallet access belonged to Mark. There was no internal audit, no separate security teams. Imagine a bank where only one person holds the vault key. The first major hack. Mt. Gox's security infrastructure was weak. And that weakness exploded in 2011. Hackers gained access to private keys. They executed fake transactions. Bitcoin's price collapsed. The incident made headlines. Users were terrified. But the real mistake happened next. Mt. Gox did not rebuild the system from scratch. There was no comprehensive security audit, and this marked the beginning of the disaster. 2011 to 2014, the silent theft years. Most people believe Mt. Gox was hacked in 2014. The truth is different. The Bitcoins were stolen quietly over many years, in small amounts, piece by piece, without anyone noticing. Why wasn't it noticed? Because user balances didn't match real wallets. The accounting system was a mess. There was no reserve tracking. Mt. Gox was technically bankrupt as early as 2011. But no one knew. Systemic failures. Mt. Gox's biggest mistake was this: customer funds were not separated from company funds. There was no real-time reserve verification. Cold wallet management was inadequate. If we talk about proof of reserves today, it's because of the Mt. Gox disaster. February 2014. The truth comes out. February 7th, 2014. Mt. Gox made an announcement. Bitcoin withdrawals were halted. The reason given was transaction malleability. But there was a problem. Other exchanges were not affected. Only Mt. Gox shut down. February 10th. We're fixing the issue. February 17th. Still closed. February 24th. The website went offline. Social media went silent. Offices were emptied. And then the documents leaked. 850,000 Bitcoins were missing. 750,000 belonged to users. 100,000 belonged to the company. At the time, hundreds of millions of dollars. Today, tens of billions. the real story of the lost bitcoins. According to leaked internal documents, the bitcoins didn't disappear in 2014. They were stolen over many years. 2014 was just when it was discovered. During the bankruptcy process, around 200,000 more bitcoins were found. They had been forgotten in old wallets. They were reserved for creditors, courts, and disappointment. Mark Karpeles was arrested, charged with data manipulation and embezzlement. But he was not convicted of Bitcoin theft. The court's conclusion was clear. This was not fraud. It was negligence on a catastrophic level. The repayment process, the bankruptcy, dragged on for years. In the early 2020s, a repayment plan was approved. As of 2024, repayments were announced to begin. This created constant pressure on Bitcoin's price. The market lived with the Mt. Gox fear.